Hi, I am Giselle Marie Amat, and I'm a student of Master of Development Communication in University of the Philippines Open University. I will present to you my research proposal in partial fulfillment of our course in Development Communication Tool 4. It's about communication research and evaluation. My research is entitled The Relationship of Teacher Engagement Level to the Completion of the Alternative Learning System Program among inmates in Quezon City Jail. In this presentation, I will cover the following chapters. The background of the study and its rationale, the objective, hypotheses and assumptions, highlights of the RevLit or Review of Related Literature, the theories that I will utilize, and a summary of the research methodology. Introduction. Well, the alternative learning system, or also known as ALS, is a system that provides a practical option to those who cannot afford or to those who do not have access to formal education in schools. Through this, learning sessions can now take place almost anywhere, homes of the learners, under the shades of trees, inside a church, playground, community centers. The learning has knows no boundaries because of ALS. This program benefits the marginalized groups who cannot afford, just like what I said, formal schooling, um, and those who do not have access or means to attend school, like, of course, the people in prisons or the inmates. The rationale of this study are the following. It intends to assess the impact of teacher engagement to the completion of the ALS program in Quezon City Jail. I also aim to discover the relationship, if ever there is, between the teacher's engagement level and the ALS program's completion and success rate. And my paper will also try to prove that the higher the teacher engagement level is, the higher the completion rate will be. So I believe that this research is important, especially in development communications, because as we know in developmental programs like this ALS program, it is important that assessment is done. Analysis of the result and outcome can lead to the improvement of the program, and if to determine or in determining if the program will continue or will have to end. I also believe that through this research, I'll be able to identify and give suggestions and recommendations in improving developmental program like the ALS program in prison. Through this research, I can also provide endorsements in enhancing the development and communication process and interactions for similar projects like the ALS program or any projects that would entail engagement generally. The research will try to uncover the answers to the following problems: the main research question and the following sub-questions. As you see, the main question or the main research problem here is what is the relationship of teacher engagement level to the completion rate of the alternative learning system program among inmates in Quezon City Jail. And in this research, these are my objectives. In this research, the following objectives will be met. I will determine the teacher engagement level of the mobile teachers in Quezon City Jail, and then once this is done, the identification of how the engagement of the teachers affects the completion rate and also the success rate of the ALS program in Quezon City Jail. And I will also discover the effects of the highness or lowness of the teacher engagement level to the completion of the program in the said prison. Let's now go to hypotheses and my assumptions. These are my hypotheses and assumptions. First, technical skills of mobile teachers are not the sole contributor to to their success in delivering ALS program and attaining a good completion rate. But engagement is also a factor in determining the success of a learning and communication process. Another hypothesis is that the level of teacher engagement based on their vigor, dedication, and absorption affects their three psychological needs: competence, relatedness, and autonomy. These, these affect communication efficacy, thus it's also influencing the success and completion of the ALS program. Lastly, teacher engagement affects teachers' productivity and as a result affects the overall success of the program. Um, the general assumption of this study is the better the teacher engagement level is, the better the success rate or the completion rate of the program will be. So for the review related literature, I tried to show how does teacher engagement affect learning, um, and why is it an indicator of or a predictor of completion, and what is the the relationship of teacher engagement in the communication process or as a communication process of education. Well, the usual determinant for teacher quality is, of course, we use licensure. It could be the teacher's cognitive ability, subject matter knowledge, teaching and learning knowledge, and of course, teaching behaviors. Teacher quality is the most important factor in determining the quality of education students receives, as what Darling Hammond show or stated in her research in 2000. Aside from teacher quality, study shows that student engagement is also one of the factors being used when assessing academic performance and completion rate. The student engagement treats as a predictor of academic achievement. Aside from teachers' quality and student engagement, what else? What else are being used to assess the success of a learning process or an educational program like ALS? Aside from student engagement and teacher quality, another predictor of academic achievement is teacher engagement. Teacher engagement is also a factor in a student's academic achievement. The high levels of teacher engagement has a positive effect on student engagement levels, as what's shown in the research of Wilson in 2011. The teacher's attitudes and motivation levels are communicated to students. So understanding teacher engagement is very important. It has also been found that there is a significant correlation between student engagement and reliably predicted school dropout rate. And there is also a positive correlations between active student learning and student achievement, and have concluded that student engagement is frequently the key determinant. Let's now talk about teacher engagement as a communication barrier in education. So if we talk about that, this engagement can be a noise in the communication process in a teacher-student or student-teacher interaction. How? Shannon and Weaver's communication model introduced the concept of distractions, or also known as noise. There are different types of noise, and one of these types is the psychological noise, or examples of these are certain attitudes like significant anger or sadness, and psychological noise can or may cause someone to lose focus on the present moment because, of course, if you're angry or sad or there are certain emotions attached when you're communicating, it makes the communication process difficult or it could be challenging or dynamic. And in the perspective of teacher engagement, um, this engagement can become a communication barrier because teacher engagement is having defined as having commitment, enthusiasm, having a positive state of mind, characterized by dedication, vigor, and absorption of one's work, then definitely if one is not engaged, then that can be a communication barrier. Those are the highlights of the review of related literature. Let's now move on to the theoretical and conceptual framework. I will be using the self-determination theory by Edward Deci and Richard Ryan. So the self-determination theory, or SDT, concerns with human motivation, personality, and optimal functioning. The theory states that humans have innate psychological need. Number one is competence, number two is relatedness, and the third is autonomy. I'll also be using SDT sub-theory called organismic integration theory, or OIT. I chose these theories as the operational theories of my study because these deals with how people manage to do their responsibilities to help achieve a certain goal through actualizing psychological needs, which are linked to the components of the state of being engaged. Through this theory and its theory and the sub-concepts in it, I can positively derive my conclusions to the questions I'm trying to answer in this research. Let's now move on to the methodology. I will be using the Utrecht Work Engagement Scale, or the UWES-9, in measuring teacher engagement. This scale has 3 subscales that measures vigor, dedication, and absorption with one's job. The respondents will answer the form, or the UWES-9 survey form, so I can measure the engagement level of these teachers. Upon getting the result, I will compare the engagement level of the mobile teachers to the completion rate of the ALS program in the chosen local of study. The chosen local of study is Quezon City Jail. And to validate the relationship of teacher engagement to the completion rate of the ALS program in jails, samples will also be gathered in 3 other different city jails within in the neighboring cities that also implements ALS program. The respondents of the study would be the mobile teachers conducting and facilitating the ALS program in Quezon City Jail. The importance of this study is, I believe that this will help development communication professionals in doing impact analysis whenever they would have or they will be involved in different developmental projects in the future. This can be used as a tool in doing educational impact analysis, and aside from using that in educational programs or developmental programs for education, they can also use this to determine if engagement level of the different stakeholders in a project is related to the completion rate or the success rate of the developmental project that they're assessing. So that's it. Okay, so that's the end of my presentation. Thank you all for watching. For you to be able to have access to the copy of my research proposal, and of course for you to view the list of my references, you just have to click the link indicated below. And I encourage everybody to post or provide their suggestions and also their feedback for me to be able to further improve my research. And please, if you have questions, just put it in the comment section below. So thank you again, and have a good day.